Welcome to today's episode of the E-Commerce Revolution podcast, where we dive into the dynamic world of e-commerce and uncover the tools and tactics that empower today's emerging entrepreneurs. Our podcast is part of our community with the same name. The community is geared to providing emerging e-commerce entrepreneurs with courses, content, and coaching to help you all launch and grow successful businesses. Check us out at ecomrevolution.co. Let's get things started. Welcome, everybody. If you've just launched your e-commerce business, are about to launch, or even thinking about launching soon, you'll want to pay close attention to this episode. Building an e-commerce business can be extremely challenging, from idea to first sale and beyond, so we thought we'd do something special this time for today's podcast. That's right. Today we are going to build a blueprint for emerging brands to take an idea to market. Every question I'm going to ask of our guest will solely be focused on building that blueprint so you can pull the transcripts if you want and literally start building today. Speaking of our guest, today's guest is an absolute rock star in the world of e-commerce. In 2004, that was a long time ago, he started his journey drop shipping hammocks, which eventually led to the company he's a part of now, the Grommet. Check out the show notes for a link to the Grommet. This is an amazing site. Sometimes it can be referred to as the product hunt for e-commerce brands. Grommet has over 800 active products, 3 million plus active shoppers, and strives every day to help makers, inventors, and small business owners go from undiscovered to unstoppable. And hopefully that is you today. We'll add a link to Grommet in the show notes. As I mentioned, you've got to check the site out. It is absolutely amazing. And a little side note, and I love this story because it's near and dear to my heart. Our guest recently started a brand with his son, Arte Shades. Okay, Arte Shades are designed for the dedicated young athlete. There's a great video on their site that kind of walks you through the whole process of how they came up with the idea and how they found the supplier and how they eventually took it to market. It is a great, great video. Basically a blueprint in many ways for how they built their business. We'll put a link in the show notes to that as well. You must watch that video on that site and get yourself a pair of shades, obviously. So without any further ado, please welcome Greg Rollet, the head of brand growth at the Grommet, to the E-Commerce Revolution podcast. Great to have you here.
Man, you did some homework there. 2004, hammocks. It was hammocks, and then I had a bird feeder site, if I remember correctly. It was doing drop shipping. My gosh, how the world has changed. Because building an e-commerce website in 2004 is not like building an e-commerce website 20 years later.
It is not. It is. I tell, and I did mine in 1999, and then another one in 2003. And yes, the landscape, technology. Would you agree that technology was more complicated back then, and marketing might have been just a little bit easier because you didn't even have anything to market? You had no place to really market. You had Yahoo, right? You had a few other places like that, but that's it.
It's crazy it like flip-flopped, right? Because 20 years ago, it was impossible to build the site and the tech wasn't there, but I was mostly running Yahoo traffic back then, and I was getting clicks for hammocks for 20 cents a click, 25 cents. Like marketing then was so easy. Now it flip-flopped. Now you could build a Shopify store in an hour, but you're like, holy crap, how do I market it? And I know that we're going to go into a lot of that today, but crazy how times have changed in the last 20, 25 years.
Absolutely. Well, it's great to have you here. Love your energy. When we first spoke, I felt, this is it. He knows his stuff. He's been through it before. He's going to be the perfect person to help kind of build that blueprint. But before we get started, I was taking a look at your LinkedIn profile, and I'm a huge fan of quotes. I love quotes. And there's a quote on your LinkedIn profile, and the gentleman's name, is it Naidu?
Nido Cabane.
Cabane, okay. And the quote goes something like this, right? Nothing can add more power to your life than concentrating all of your energies on a limited set of targets. Now, tell me about that quote and what it means to you, and then ultimately what it means to emerging e-commerce entrepreneurs out there.
Yeah, so first, Dr. Nito Cobain. So he is the president at High Point University. He's been a motivational speaker for the past 30, 40 years. Incredible story. I helped to produce a documentary on him about a decade ago, and just incredible motivator. But this quote that he said is so true, is we need targets. I believe that we're goal-focused beings. Like when we have a mission, when we have a goal, we have a reason to get up in the morning. The problem that most people face is, like, especially I'll relate it to e-commerce, is, all right, I got an e-commerce store. Here's the 77 things that I need to do today. And how many of those things, one, get done, two, move the needle forward, because they're dibbing and dabbing in all these different areas, as opposed to, all right, let me get my landing page up, right? Like that's my target right now. My target is, let's get to 100 sales a month. Let's then get to 100 sales a day, as opposed to having so many targets of, I need to shoot videos and I need to do Instagram and let's do TikTok shops. That's hot and sexy right now. And I got to get my Etsy going. And all of a sudden you have no sales on TikTok. Your Etsy shop is half built. Your Facebook ads, your room, like instead of having this very specific target of what it is that we're trying to do. And it's so hard today because there are a million things. And today, I'm sure the two of us, we're going to give you a million more things to do, but find the one or two that resonate with you, that I'm going to go all in on those targets. Because when you have that arrow and you're aiming at that target, that should be the only thing in your sight, is that bullseye, and not letting distractions get to you. That is the ultimate killer of e-commerce businesses. And you said it earlier, over 800 products. We're closing in at 900 right now on Grommet. The products that are at the top have very specific targets. The ones that flounder at the bottom are so spread thin that they can't even send me an image because they can't even find it on their computer. And that's not who you want to be as an e-commerce entrepreneur.
Well, you literally have case studies at the Grommet, right? You can literally see the ones that are going to work. And you actually mentioned that focus and remove distractions in that video with your son that you put up on the site. I mean, right. Yes. Distractions all around this. I mean, yes. What's the hot new thing? You read about something on a blog, or you listen to a podcast and you hear the next. What we're going to talk about today is going to be the facts, the true facts of getting a business, an e-commerce business started. So doesn't mean you have to do every single one of them right now today, right? You start at the beginning and work your way through to the end, but be focused, as Greg's saying. I mean, it's hard. It is hard, and we have probably more distractions in our lives than we had back in 2004. At least I think we do, 2003. But let's dive in. Let's talk about building this thing. So first, let me set the stage, Greg, and you can, I'll start asking you some questions around this. So let's say I'm an emerging e-commerce entrepreneur and I want to start a business selling aesthetically pleasing, well-designed, ergonomic home office accessories, and I want to do it direct to consumer. I'm going to bypass the stores. I'm going to go direct to consumer. So with that said, maybe the products are going to be something like, anti-fatigue mats. Can you make those look really cool? Footrests, laptop stands. I'm always looking at my laptop stand thinking, they could have done that a little bit better, right? Desk lamps with adjustable lighting, and all with a very theme. And then one that's dear to my heart, cable management solutions. I have way too many cables around, and the cable management solutions I've seen out there are not really that good looking, and they don't hide themselves too well out there. So I have not sourced my products yet. I've got this idea, right? I have limited funds for marketing because I'm an emerging e-commerce entrepreneur, but I'm filled with excitement and enthusiasm. And now I'm here to learn about building a blueprint to launch and grow my brand. So let's start with, first, maybe give me an understanding of the overall journey, kind of an overview of what e-commerce entrepreneurs should be thinking about right now.
Yeah, so in the stage that you just described, I believe that there are two paths to building this business. One is we're going to go out and buy our product, get our inventory, make a bet. Let's say it's a cable management system. We're going to make a bet on a cable management system, and then we are going to use our limited resources, which are limited, on advertising to try to generate direct sales immediately, right? That is route number one. That is very difficult, because it's an outlay of cash up front. It is an outlay of cash for ads, and it is risky. But this is what most e-commerce entrepreneurs do. They're like, cool, I found a product. I can either white label it. I can add my little spin to it. I can throw a logo on it. Let me order a couple hundred units. Let me pull up a Shopify site. Then let me run some meta ads. And then 30 days later, they're out of money. And they're like, oh crap, this is really hard, right? The other route, which is the route that I truly believe in, is I want to build a media property around this topic first. And I want to gather as much data from the marketplace so I know exactly what product to pick. And then I have a community of people who already want this product before I bring it to market. And so I love the niche that you picked because there are so many people now who are working from home. If you look on anywhere, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, there are so many like sexy pictures of super clean desks and the minimalist home, work from home lifestyle. There are YouTubers who dedicate. So there is a market and an industry for this that already exists. What is your unique spin on it? So I'm going to go into one thing that you said, like cable management. You don't really like all these cable management systems that are out there right now. I would probably go to something like Amazon or look on Shopify, go to Google, and I would buy 5, 6, 7 of these. They're probably, $20, $30, $50. I'd spend $200-$300 on research and development. I would buy these products. I would test them out, see what they do, how they work. But here's the other side. I would be filming content along the way on every single one of these brands. Hey guys, I want to have the coolest, cleanest, sleekest, sexiest desk out there because I love working from home, but it is an absolute mess. Check out my desk and how messy it is. Guys, drop a comment and let me know the number one thing that you guys would do to clean my desk up. And I would start creating a community and engaging people right now. I would do this on Facebook where I probably already have friends and community, or Instagram, but I would also be posting this on TikTok to try to get some viral views, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, try to get some virality, maybe LinkedIn where there's professionals out there, and start building this community. Then the next day, all right guys, so I got the Whippersnapper 1000. It is the cable management system and I tried it out, and here are the 3 things that are wrong with it. Now you're starting to place doubt in the marketplace's mind. You're starting to see like, oh, this might not be the one. The next one, do another video. All of a sudden, now you've got a couple things. You've created content that you put out into the marketplace. You're getting to word vomit about the problem. You're getting better on camera. You're creating confidence in yourself. You're rallying the troops of people who are saying, oh yeah, that one wouldn't work for me either because of this problem or this problem. Now you're getting research. So now after a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe 30 days of doing content like this, now you can start to look at whether it's an Alibaba, whether it's a local inventors club, whatever that it is, and say, hey, I've tested out 10 different cable management systems. I put out videos that now have 7, 8, 9, 10,000 views. Here's what people are saying the issues are. Here are my problems with it. How can we make a better version of this cable management system? And now you start filming it. Hey guys, I just had an amazing conversation with this manufacturer today that we talked about all the problems that you guys shared with these cable management companies. And we're putting together a blueprint. What do you guys want to see? Right. And so now you're bringing them behind the scenes. I call this building in public. Right now, you've taken them along with the problem. Now you're taking them along with the journey for the solution, and then you're going to launch the solution. So now, when you order that first run of however many, couple hundred, 1,000, whatever the MOQ is, you already have an audience who's been watching you build this throughout the last couple weeks, and hopefully you can do pre-sales from there. You can run a Kickstarter potentially or an Indiegogo, and you have momentum. Here's the other thing that happens: if nobody cares at all about the cable management system, you don't make the cable management system, right? Now you say, you know what? I guess you guys don't care about cable management, but a lot of you guys have standing desks, right? I want to test out the coolest mat for standing desk. And you just do this until you find the thing that hits before you go and put a couple $1,000s on your credit card, before you go and ask for the loan, and now you have this media property. And the cool thing is if you do this media property around, work from home or better, a cool, sexy home office, whatever it is, now you can also introduce more products over time because you're not just a cable management company. You're a sexy work from home desk company, whatever that is, right? So anyway, I know I just word vomited a lot there, so I'm going to shut up and let you go.
Yeah. So Greg, I mean, the media company idea is, I say these days, if you're going to be an e-commerce entrepreneur, you have to be a content creator first and foremost. And that's really what you're saying is, yes, you need to do the idea generation. You need to go through that. You need to do the market research, but film it, capture it, get it out there, build it in public, learn. And then you're really doing, you're going to make a decision. Should I make this or not make this? Did I get enough views on this video? Did enough people comment on that particular line that I was going to work on? If not, all right, let's put it aside and work on something else. And I think that's a fantastic way to literally go through the ideation to validation, stage of this whole thing. So that's really, we'll call that step one of the process. And you can do that in public. Get your socials all set up first, get all that taken care of, start building an audience, reach out to friends and family, get them to join in, get them to comment, and then, as you can start building out, and I love that. And these days, content creation, I'm not going to call it easy. It's not, it's a lot of work to do content creation, but the technology is all around us. I look at a camera there, a camera on your phone. That's really all you need at the end of the day. And then go on Amazon and wherever you want to go and buy some of these products, buy the ones that you think are interesting, and how could you make them better. All right. So that's that type. Now, what if I need a prototype? Let's say I've settled in. I'm going to make a couple of these ergonomic office accessories. What if I'm going to go the route of prototyping? But I may not also, from a manufacturing standpoint, I may not want to actually manufacture, right? I may want to find it from a supplier and bring it to market. What are your thoughts on that? Have you, some of the people who are on the Grommet, they've had to go through prototyping. What is that process like?
Yeah. So first disclaimer is I am far from the #1 world expert on this, but if I was doing this tomorrow, I'll walk you through exactly what I do, both with my son's business, when people come to the Grommet, is either you have more money and time, or you have less money and less time. Meaning, do I have a year to prototype something and test out 20 different versions of this? Or do I want to get something out to the market quickly? If I want to get something out to the market quickly, I'm probably looking for something that's currently being manufactured somewhere, and I'm going to put my logo on it, maybe my spin on it, maybe it's going to be cut a little differently. So like when we did the sunglass brand with my son, we went to Alibaba and we looked at all the different sunglass brands. We requested samples from all the sunglass brands. We got those in, and they're pretty quick, a week or two, got some samples in, and we started playing around with them. And we just said, you know what? We want the nose to be a little smaller here. We want to be able to pinch here. And they were able to make those slight adjustments. We weren't able to completely craft our own pair of sunglasses from scratch. If we wanted to do that, we'd be $10,000 into tooling and our own plastic molds. And I just didn't have, Colt just wanted, hey, I just want to make sunglasses. Colt's my son. I want to get sunglasses out. I want to get them to the market like soon. So that was our initial run. Now, if you have more time, well, now you can go and you can find somebody who can help, draw out the plans. Maybe you want to go the patent route. Maybe you want, there's more development. I am 100% not the guy to talk to about going that route. I love that route. And I think even with the sunglass brand, that's our next step is let's build our own mold. Let's build our own and start owning more of the IP versus leveraging someone else. But I think especially in the early stages, when you're still testing, it's not a bad thing to find something that you really like, that you can put your logo on it, put your own packaging on it, put your own spin and brand behind it. And again, see if the market wants it. Because when you do that, your MOQ, your minimum order quantity, is going to be smaller too. Like when we first ordered sunglasses, I was able to order just 300 pairs. If I wanted to do a custom mold, they wanted like 10,000 pairs. I'm like, oh my God, my wife is going to kill me if I get 10,000 of these and put them in the house, right? Nonetheless, the credit card bill that's going to come with that. So we were able to get, 300 pairs. We had built up the audience. Like we said, we were already doing TikToks and Instagrams. We were able to sell 200 pairs in the first weekend and then get rid of the next 100 pairs. Like that's what we wanted to see. Like, all right, cool. We tested the market, very low risk. And now we're able to go back and continue to enhance and make the product better and build with our audience. So I usually recommend that route because, again, it creates momentum. It's much less risk than trying to tool something yourself. But there are instances. We had one maker on the Grommet, love her, Nicole from Spring Rose, who she wanted to build a bra for women that have disabilities. Maybe they only have one arm. Maybe they have arthritis. Maybe they can't put their bra on. And it sounds like such a simple thing, but like that breeds confidence. You don't want to leave the house. You are uncomfortable all day. Well, it took her a year, multiple patents, multiple work-throughs, 30, 40 different versions, but she was building something that needed to be ADA compliant, that, there's differences, right? It's a difference between I want my doctor to have gone to medical school, right? Versus just, a guy making sunglasses, you can get away with a little bit of less knowledge on the expertise side. So I know it's a little all over the place, but I think if you have more money and time, go down that longer route and create the best product in the world and bring your audience along with you. But if you have a little, if you're putting this on a credit card, if you want to get this out to the market, you got to make a return much faster. I would look for something that's already on the market. Look at an Alibaba, look at, some of these different manufacturing sites and see if you can get something put out into the market. Maybe it's a licensing deal. Maybe it's going to the hardware show or something like that and doing a licensing deal with somebody on the floor and getting that product to market as quick as possible.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And you said you're not the, you're not the foremost expert, but I think you literally, you guys, you and your son did that. You did this process exactly the way, most should do it, especially if you don't have, you don't have those major dollars, behind you. You want to start this out. I mean, you found a, a partner to work with. You found
Exactly.
a supplier. You were able to make those tweaks, and now the next iteration of this could be actually making your own sunglasses, right? And get there. The fact that you guys sold 200 on a weekend, wow. I mean, okay, we got to get into that part soon. We're gonna have to understand that whole thing. All right, so there's that process of getting out there and doing that research and finding the supplier, finding the route that you're going to take, finding somebody you can work with and trust, because obviously, if you're going to move inventory, you're going to need to go back to them and buy more, and you need to make sure they're there and they're reliable. And I think getting those samples, a lot of people don't know that. Ordering samples, you should definitely be getting the samples,
Always.
playing with them, touching them, feeling them, moving them, wearing them, making sure they work, for your business. Now let's talk about, all right, so I found my supplier, I found my, we're going to buy the inventory. I'm going to bring in, a few hundred units of this product, one particular product in the space that we're going into. Now I think I need to talk and figure out branding and positioning, right? I need to identify, who am I? Who am I trying to be? I've already, as you mentioned, started working on content previously, so I may already have a little bit of brand identity, but I don't have a full-fledged, and I need to figure out my unique selling proposition as well. Tell me about that process. What is involved in getting that unique selling proposition and figuring out brand identity?
Yeah, so again, I think there's two pieces to this puzzle. One is in those early days, I do believe that a founder-led business is so important because you don't have the dollars like a Coca-Cola or whoever to just bully your way into the marketplace with a new product. You are going to have to create a connection one-on-one with pretty much every single one of your customers in those early days. And so the earlier stuff about building in public and getting out and just, I love this idea of like word vomiting. Like sometimes like whenever I launch a new product, I try to get interviewed on as many podcasts as I can so that the host can ask me questions and I can just word vomit answers. Like today, not every one of my answers is 100% polished, but by going through this, I'm like, oh, that's when the audience really liked that. Or, oh, that really worked. When I said that, it didn't really click. I need to go back and find a different story for that, or whatever the case is. And so find places where you can word vomit as much as you can in the beginning, because and you try to be perfect. And that is a big problem in the early days. You're like, I got to get the perfect tagline, the perfect this, the perfect. No one is going to remember like what your website said, like ever, right? Like it just doesn't exist. But they will remember how you made them feel, the energy that you brought. Like you and I were talking earlier, like I'm a big energy guy. I'm high, I'm fast paced, I'm loud, I'm energetic. Like I want that feeling to stick with people. Oh, that's Greg from Grommet. He brings a ton of energy to everything that he does, and he's got some, a real track record behind it, and he's very tactical in what he says, and like that's what I want people to remember. The tagline they're going to forget. Even with RJ Shades with my son's sunglass brand, it's been a year now. We've changed taglines 3 times. Do you know how many customers have been like, "You guys changed taglines. What is wrong with you?" Like no one even knows what they're just like, cool. They make cool sunglasses. It's from an 11-year-old baseball player. Like that's what they and so. You don't have to be perfect in the beginning. You have to just start by putting things out in the marketplace and seeing how they adapt to it and how you adapt to it. The more that my son's been interviewed, the more he's like gone up to baseball players and talked about his sunglasses. He's figuring out like, oh, when I say this, their eyes light up or they get excited to open the glasses. When I said this, they were just like, oh, cool kid. Like, thanks, man. And so I think this practicing in public is so important for those early stages of a brand. Don't get so caught up in the logo has to be perfect, the tagline has to be perfect, the copy has to be perfect. Figure out through these personal interactions what the problem is, what problem you're solving, how you're solving it, how it's unique in the marketplace, the feeling. Those things are way more important in the early days. The brand can come later. And the brand comes from your customers buying it and saying, man, I love that cable management system. Like it made my office so X, Y, and Z. Well, X, Y, and Z, when you start hearing it over and over and over and over again, that becomes your tagline. That becomes, what it is that you're putting onto your website. Now, flip side, don't go to Fiverr and make a crappy logo that you could have made in clip art and paint. there are so many cool places out there to get design done, whether that's, working with a freelance designer, working with, doing a contest through like 99 Designs. I use 99 Designs for like literally everything. I love, because you pay like $500-600 and you get like 100 logos and you get to pick and choose. And there are so many resources out there. Midjourney on your phone, like an AI service. Hey, make me a cool logo with a palm tree on a computer. For like whatever it is. Like you can do all these things very, very easily, but know that you can change. I mean, how many times do big, Fortune 500 brands change their logo? All the time, right? It's new. It's something to talk about. So don't get so stuck in it in those early days. I think it's so much more important to find your voice of who you are as the founder, and then who your company is and how you help your audience. To me, that's so much more important than the logo that you put on your product.
And let's remember, this is all digital. It can all be changed, right?
100%.
I mean, to your point, literally tomorrow, you gave the example of your son walking up to baseball players. Through those conversations, a unique selling proposition could be discovered, right? A new one, like, oh, interesting. I didn't look at it that way. Go to the site, make some changes and some adjustments. There you go. And now it's this constant iteration of who you are. But I love, again, I'll take it back to the building in public. So many people are afraid to build in public, right? They want to keep their ideas quiet and secret. And I think there was a book called Content Inc. Back in the day. This was early days of social media, and it talks a lot about that. Like literally build that audience before you even launch your product. And that's exactly what you're saying to do. And then don't be afraid to make the changes and adjustments and continue to build in public. And that's how you get, you're a content creator, really, at the end of the day. So now we've got our, at least what we believe is a good, unique selling proposition. We at least understand some bits of our brand. We may make changes down the road. Now we're ready to figure out our marketing. And again, we've already started doing some marketing based on, your philosophy of coming out there and building in public and starting early on. But we need to figure out, all right, now we need to actually move some units. What marketing channels? Like, where do I start looking? They're everywhere. And there's so many choices. Do I need to figure out, and do I need to do a buyer persona first before I figure out my marketing channels? What's the right move in this marketing and sales strategy side of things?
Yeah, I love this. So I'm going to talk about three different pieces of kind of a go-to market strategy. And the first is, hopefully as you're building in public, you are driving the people who are super interested in what you're doing to something, right? To an email list, to an early bird list, to a pre-launch list, email. Drive all of these people to email. And the bigger you build that email list, now when you have product in, you send that email out and you're like, hey, guess what, guys? The cable management system that you've been waiting for and we've been working on and you've been seeing behind the scenes, it's finally here. Go buy it, right? So your internal list is the most valuable thing that you could own as an e-commerce entrepreneur. If you're going direct to consumer, that list is the most important thing. And you can start building that before you have product, before you have inventory, all of that. So I think that is thing number one. Thing number two is I would tap into communities. And so what I mean by communities is there is probably groups on LinkedIn and Reddit, on Facebook, Discord, whatever it is, where, there's a work from home, desk community somewhere. And there's probably tens of thousands, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 people in those communities where you could be, talking to them and like, hey, this is what I discovered. Like, hey, I saw you were, trying to organize your desk like this. Like, here's 2 or 3 things that I'm working on, and like using and leveraging those communities. The other thing with communities that I've been working on getting people to do is making connections with the admins of those communities. So you're an admin of the community. Hey, I'd love to do something super cool for your community. Like, can I do a webinar about the 5 mistakes people make when building their home office to be more productive, or the 5 mistakes that are hurting your productivity in your home office? Like, I'd love to just do that for free. We could do a Facebook Live. It'll be awesome. And at the end, I'm going to do a giveaway where I'm going to give away 5 of my cable management things, right? And these hosts are like, you want to do that for free? You want to give away stuff to my community? Like, this is awesome. And many times they will say yes. You get to do that presentation, you get a ton of people on. And of course, what are you talking about the whole time? The 5 problems that your product fixes, right? And so you have to discuss it with the admin. Some will let you sell, at the end. Some will more of a softer offer, but you do 5, 10, 15 of these presentations, man, you build your audience so quickly by leveraging other people's audiences. I think that's one of the most underrated strategies. And again, this works everywhere. Like, we're doing this right now with my son. We're going to there's travel baseball Facebook groups. and they're like rabid, like they're crazy, because especially right now it's like off season. We're recording this in the start of summer, so everybody's getting ready. Like, where am I going to play for fall? Who's got tryouts? I hated my team, I'm looking for a new coach, or like whatever, like all the shenanigans that go on in kids baseball. And we're just coming in there, hey, can we come in and just do a really cool mindset training of like the 5 things I'm teaching my 11-year-old son that helped him to be a better player mentally? And we want to give away, 5 pairs of sunglasses to some of the dads that come on, and they're all just like, yes, like amazing. Like, we don't, and so these things, there's so many communities out there. That's why I started this whole conversation with, you're not selling cable management things. You're creating a media property around work from home or sleek and sexy ergonomic products. Like, you want to be a part of a community so that you can tap into them. If you're just selling cable management stuff, you're stuck in cable management land. You want to go much bigger. So while I sell baseball sunglasses, what we're really selling is the mindset of an elite athlete, the training of an elite athlete. Like, how many more lanes are there open for us going that versus we just sell baseball sunglasses? And so anyway, I think communities. The third thing, that I'm going to go through, and then I promise I'll shut up and take a break, is there are incredible go-to market platforms that'll help you generate some momentum. One of them, self-servingly, being like the Grommet. Like, we live in this space where you got to 0 to 1, you made your product, you got inventory, you can't afford to hire an agency who's going to charge you $5,000, $10,000 a month retainer, but like, you're not there yet. How do you get that momentum? Well, there's platforms like Grommet, like Amazon, like there's these marketplaces where you can put your product and find those first 100, 500, 1,000 customers to get you that momentum, to get you that market feedback, and get rid of inventory. Like, that's what you need to do in the early days. Like, let's get rid of inventory. And so I think it's finding some of these marketplaces that will partner with you to help drive customers your way, and do it in a way that is very maker entrepreneur friendly. Like at Grommet, we're performance only. We're free for your first week that you're on Grommet, and then we only charge you per sale. That makes the relationship really advantageous for you, because you're not spending, oh, let's give Mark Zuckerberg $10,000 and hopefully we sell more inventory than that, right? Like, again, Meta's great, but at those early days when you don't have dollars to throw away, you want to find these platforms you can partner with. So 1, build your email list. 2, leverage communities and get your way into partnerships and leverage other people's audiences. And then 3, find these platforms that will allow you to generate that momentum on very maker-friendly terms.
I mean, low to no cost right here. Those are 3 low to no cost, more just effort, right? Putting in that effort and finding what you need to find out there. It's so funny. If you think back to 2004, when you started your first e-commerce business, I'm sure you were told, email marketing, build a list, right? We're still being told, build a list. It literally, we will be told, build a list
for the end of time,
until the end of time.
Yeah. It's really funny. Like, I just did a video on this of like, newsletters are like sexy again, right? Like, everybody bought the newsletter.
Right, I saw that.
Yeah, dude, I've been doing newsletters for 20 something years, man. Like, this is great. And pre that, like, I came from the direct mail world even before this. Is like, it was all about your house list, and then you would send physical mail to the people who bought your products and try to get them to board. Like, I'm just like, this is like in the Stone Age. They were probably just like, who bought the sheep last time? Let's go sell them more sheep, right? And it's just wild. Yeah,
and people are selling, right? People are selling their newsletters, building and selling newsletters. That's
crazy.
Quite an interesting business, and but definitely down to email. But I love the community idea, getting out there and meeting community admins. And you're right, giving out that free content. I'll do a webinar on a particular topic, and then maybe giving out some free product. What a great way! I mean, what did that cost you? It cost you 4 or 5 products out there. But people have them now in their hands.
Exactly.
They're using them. Ask for a review. They got something for free. Ask for a review. We'd love for you to post a review on our site once you get a chance to try out the product that we just sent you. So great ideas. All right, so I've got my low to no cost marketing game plan, including we're going onto the Grommet, getting the product out there, which I think is fantastic and an amazing opportunity to do. But let's talk now. I'm ready to launch. There's some pre-launch activities, right, that I have to go through to get that successful launch, launch execution. I've already hopefully built an audience. I've got my email list. Maybe my email list is going to be part of my launch strategy. Talk to me about launching successfully. People have this notion that, you push a button and woo, things happen. Well, maybe it's not exactly like that, right?
That's not what happens.
Give me your perspective.
Oh, come on. Like, yeah, I think
the fireworks. We need the fireworks behind this.
So,
right?
So I want to talk about one of the most underrated things that most business owners don't think about during the launch process. And it is the offer. I think so many people get the offer wrong, and this makes all the difference in the world. And when I think most e-commerce business owners think about offers, they think, all right, I'm selling this water bottle. It's $24.99 and it comes in 3 colors. That's their whole offer. And I'm just like, oh my God, like you are completely missing the boat, because you've got 1,000 of these shaker bottles in your garage. We need to get rid of a lot of these shaker bottles. What is the true offer that we want to do? So you asked earlier, like, how did I sell 200 pairs of sunglasses in a weekend? Well, we sold a package called the Triple Play. We sold one for $50. We sold 3 different colors for $100. Guess which one we sold? Everyone bought the 3 for 100. It doubled our average order value. So now instead of a customer spending 50, they were spending 100. They were getting 3 pairs of glasses. So the value was so much better for them. And I moved inventory in 2 days. It was like this irresistible offer that they couldn't live without. And so my challenge to you is like, how can you create an offer that someone can't say no to? And really spend time thinking about this, because this is the difference between selling 20 shakers and launch day and 100 shakers on launch day to the same number of customers. That is the big difference. Is you might only have 25 people who buy your shaker on day 1, but are they only buying 1 shaker? Are they buying 2 shakers? Are they buying 5 shakers for their whole family? And substitute that for whatever it is. Going back to cable management, do I just need 1 cable system, or do I have a home office and I have my actual office and I have my wife has a station over here? I need a bundle. Right? Or do I break out the product and we have like 2 of these types of cable thingies and 3 of these types? Rapid Storage is a brand that's on the Grommet, and they have 4 different bundles of cable management, and it starts at like $12.99 all the way up to $99.99. We sell more of the $99.99 because it's got a little bit of everything and it's the whole system. And I really want people to think about the offer. So the offer is the price. How much is the thing? How many of those things? So there's bundle strategies. Buy 1, buy 2 and get free shipping. Buy 3 and get 1 free. There's all these different strategies of bundles. And the objection I get all the time is like, well, I only have 1 cup in 1 color. Like, how can well, just bundle more of the same. Maybe they want 3 of those cups. Like they try to make it harder. They're like, well, I don't have 3 different colors. I don't cool. Just buy more of the same, I think is a bundle strategy. 2 is, can you package them up? Like what we did with the sunglasses was 3 different colors. They got a black a pair, they got a white pair, and they got a pink pair, right? So they got 3 different pairs at the same time. The other thing is like, do you have a bundle where it is the cable management system, but they're also getting a ergonomic mouse pad and like something else, and you're bundling 2 or 3 different products together. So think about your offer in terms of what else do they get? Do they get something free with purchase? So I did a lot of work with Dan Kennedy from the direct response side forever, and he was working with Sports Illustrated, and the magazine was, this is in the early 80s. The magazine was on a crash course. No one wanted the magazine, and all of a sudden, this guy in his office said, "Well, I got like 50 of these phones with footballs on them. Like, could we just give them away?" And so they ran a 2-minute TV commercial where you got the free football phone with your subscription to Sports Illustrated. They sold thousands and thousands of phones on the first day the commercial ran. They only had like 100 of them. They ended up doing 3 million subscriptions of Sports Illustrated in 1 year due to the football phone. So it's finding that offer that's like, everybody wanted the football phone, but they were buying the subscription to Sports Illustrated. So are they buying your shaker cup because of the cup or because of the free doodad that went along with it? In the case of cable management, here's the crazy thing, is it could also be education. It could be a course about how to set up your office, a free $49 productivity home office setup course, right? That you teach, you just do videos. Guess how much cost that is? 0. Right? So, it could be a $49 value, a $99 value, but it doesn't cut into your COGS. It doesn't cut into your profit margins. And so there's so many things you could do with that. What's your money back guarantee? Is it a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day? Is it lifetime? Is it ironclad? Is it, no questions asked? Do you have social proofing? Do you have what's the urgency and scarcity that you have? Do you, like, when we did the sunglasses, we only got 300. That's all we ordered. Literally, that's all we have. And so it was like, I want to buy it now so they don't sell out. Is there urgency? Hey, we're only giving away the football phone if you order by Friday, right? Give them a reason to buy. Why do I have to buy your product now? All of these things go into your offer. And the more that you can spend time on your offer, and I think it's what e-commerce entrepreneurs spend the least amount of time doing. They say, all right, my COGS on this cup are $4.99. I've been told by some guy somewhere that I need a 4X margin, so I'm going to charge $20 for the cup. That's their whole offer strategy, right? That is a huge, huge thing that is going to determine the success or failure of your launch, is figuring out your offer strategy and how to make it so irresistible and sexy for your customers that they just have to say yes. And the last thing I'll say is, it doesn't have to be a discount. It doesn't have to be 20% off, 50% off. It doesn't have to be that. How do you add more value? How do you make it more valuable for the shopper? And then you don't have to be a discount brand. It could be a discount, right? In the case of the sunglasses, but it was buy more and get a discount, buy more and get free shipping. Here's the free shipping threshold. Like, really spend time on this and you will have a much more successful launch.
Yeah, no, I love it. Well, a lot of times when I'm doing coaching in the community, we just look at traffic and then we look at what they've been doing offer-wise and trying to show them, if you literally, bundled this, put together a better offer, and if your traffic stayed exactly the same, you would have already increased your, if you increase your average order value, you're going to increase your sales, your revenue, everything is going to go up off of the same amount of traffic in there. So I think that offer strategy applies perfectly to launch day too. And I love the fact that you and your son thought this out, said, let's get 3, Costco does it a lot too, right? You walk into Costco, it's, you get, 3 coffee cups, 3 coffee mugs instead of 1. And like, do I really need? Well, yeah, sure. My wife can have one. I can have one. Yeah, maybe my son will put smoothies in it. All right, cool. I'll just buy all 3 of these. It's a good bundle offer. So I love that. All right. So now we've launched, now we need to move into what we call post-launch, right? Post-launch growth, getting customer feedback. We got feedback in our early days when we were going through ideation process, but right now we need to figure out, do people like our products? They're in their hands. How do we get reviews? What do we do? How do we scale this thing up? What are your thoughts on this particular side of the blueprint?
Yeah, so I think this actually starts with packaging. So the first thing that I want to talk about is, when you ship your product to someone, are you empowering your shopper to do some of that post-transaction, post-marketing for you? So what we've done on like the sunglass side is we have a card. On the front side, it's like, thanks for your order. It's got a cool picture of it. On the back side, it has 3 QR codes, one for customer support, one for to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and one to leave us a review. Right. And so right on the card, and then under it is just a blank like white space where I have my son. He's just, he writes like a thank you note, like thanks for your order or whatever it is. But we're using the packaging to try to drive people to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're using the packaging to get people to leave reviews and get people to like take photos of them wearing the glasses, so that, obviously we want to leverage that in what it is that we do. So I think that's one. So packaging is super important. Don't just throw this in a box and ship it to someone. What are you using in your packaging to get someone to say, you know what, I am going to go leave a review because you made it really easy to, or there's an incentive to. So thinking through that is really important from the packaging side. 2 is obviously email, right? So you get an order, they should be added to your email list, and you should have a post-purchase flow. Like that's like email, like e-commerce email 101. Thanks for your purchase. Leave us a review. Hey, your order's on the way. Here's tracking and shipping, setting expectations. Do you want them to join a community? What do you want them to do after purchase? The third thing, which is the least scalable thing, but I think one of the most important things you could do at the early stages, is physically calling or texting your customers. We've done this. I've done this in multiple businesses now. I have a Zapier thing that as soon as the shipping is said that it's been dropped off by USPS or FedEx or whatever, it sends a zap into my Slack and it shoots me that person's contact information. And then I know that you got the package today, and I get a little reminder to call you the next day. And I would either do it myself. I also had an assistant do it at a time, and we would call it, hey, just want to make sure you got the product. Did you have any issues with it? Like, were you able to open it? Like, did you, whatever the case is. I used to sell this video planner, and I'd be like, hey, like, did you get your video planner? Did you have a chance to shoot your first video? Like, what limitations or roadblocks do you have? Like, whatever it was. And I was getting all this customer feedback. For some of my businesses, I would use it as an upsell opportunity because they would tell me like, hey, here's my frustration with this. Well, cool. Do you know that we have this ultra deluxe package, whatever it is? But we would call and get real-time feedback.
Wow.
And then the other thing,
what a concept, Greg. The phone.
Who knew? Like in this world. And then the last thing that I'll say on this, and I think this is again going back to content creation, is how can you allow your shoppers to create content for you? So there's this whole UGC world that's out there where you're trying to incentivize your customers to like create videos and stuff for you. I find it even easier of just like, hey, I know you just bought the sunglasses. Do you want to maybe jump on Zoom for like 5 minutes and Colt can ask you 3 questions about the glasses and why you bought them, and we'll put that up on our YouTube channel. And like, they're like, what? You want to interview me? Like what, whatever it is. And the question's just like, hey, thanks so much for buying Arte shades. Why did you buy them? Like, oh, they just looked really cool. I saw this, like, and they basically give you that glowing testimonial or whatever it is. And then we chop that up, we edit it, and we put it on YouTube, or we can leverage it for ads or whatever the case. But we make it so easy for them, and we make the customer feel like the star. They're the celebrity, right? It's not us. It's not about us anymore. And this is where I think brand comes into play, is like we're letting our shoppers be the stars of the movie. And so, so really quickly, that's how I would think about post-purchase, both marketing opportunities, review opportunities, feedback opportunities in an early stage business.
Yeah, I love it. The phone idea. I mean, first of all, nobody's expecting a phone call, right? You're using automation, and for anybody who doesn't know what Zapier is, we'll put a link to Zapier in the show notes to get that information in your hands. Because otherwise, right, you'd have to dig through some information, try to pull it. You may forget. Now it's just really like in your inbox, and hey, I got to make a phone call, and they're surprised to hear it, and they're also it catches them off guard, especially in this day and age, right?
Yep.
That idea of bringing somebody on Zoom, it's almost like the focus group, right? The post-purchase focus group, with the idea that you're going to get some user-generated content, the UGC information from them, and then now you have built a media company. You are making your customer the star of your media company and your movie, so to speak, in this case. Great ideas. And again, low to no cost, right?
Exactly.
Just some time. Zoom doesn't cost you much. You can even do it on the free Zoom account. Do it on Google Meet if you want to. But all of these things are doable. And now you have engagement with your customer. They're going to remember you because guess what? Your competition probably didn't do that. Your competition didn't make those phone calls to them. So fantastic. All right. So now I'm getting information from customers. I'm getting some feedback in there. I want to work on building some loyalty. I want people to come back and buy more cable management products from me. What is my process in building that strong customer loyalty long term? Do I need a loyalty program, or can I do it some other way?
So I have no issue with like loyalty programs. There's cashback programs that are out there today, but I still believe, and I sound like a broken record. I go back to the same things, is take care of your people, right? And so by doing these Zoom interviews and like posting that content, like you've made a fan for life. Where a lot of early e-commerce companies struggle with this is their email list. They only send an email out when they want someone to buy something. Hey, guess what? It's Memorial Day, 20% off. Hey, guess what? It's Father's Day. Buy our stuff. And every email from them is just buy our stuff. And that's the email e-commerce playbook. A much better playbook is just bringing people along with, again, it's building in public, but just bringing them along with you through this process of, hey, you know what? I just interviewed John yesterday. He bought a pair of our glasses and he absolutely loved them. He wore them in a tournament last weekend and they won the whole freaking tournament. It was the first time they ever won their baseball tournament. How cool is that? We just wanted to send a big shout out to John. Hey, if you played in your tournament this weekend and wore a pair of Arte shades, make sure you tag us on Instagram. Let us know because we'd love to feature you guys in the newsletter too. Boom. No hard pitch, no hard sale, but it does generate sales because other people are like, oh, John was wearing a cool pair of the pink ones. I don't have the pink ones. Let me go check those out. And it just builds this connection with the audience. We do it like every email is actually written in the RJ Shades from my son's point of view. And it's just like, hey, I played this tournament this weekend. Hey, I went 4 for 6. I threw a perfect game this week, like whatever it is. Or I struggled this weekend. It was tough. And here's like a mental skill that I leveraged to, overcome this and get back in the box and whatever. And every email, like you get so many replies. Most e-commerce companies don't get replies other than where's my order? What's my tracking number? Like that's your email, right? Is customer support. Our emails are like, go Colt, that's amazing. We're rooting for you. Like, oh, my son wore his glasses this weekend and he loved it. Like that is the true definition of community and bringing people together. And so cable management, going back to it, are you sharing stories of like, hey, I just got a picture from, Susie last week. She just set up her home office. Check this out. This is badass. We like love it here. It's so cool. What, all you guys, I just posted her photo on our Instagram account. Why don't you guys go comment on Instagram and tell Susie what an amazing job that she did? Boom, done. And you don't have to have this, you don't have to be the best copywriter in the world. You don't have, you're just bringing people along this journey with you. And over time, it's going to generate more sales. It's going to generate more traffic. It's going to build this community. It's going to build people that really care about you. You build loyalty because you're the person that's showing them all the cool stuff. And yes, then when you have a Memorial Day sale, your open rate is going to be good because they've opened all your other stuff and it's been good. And so it just breeds more and more and more goodwill into your community. And to me, that's always going to work. And there are not many e-commerce companies that are good at this. Most e-commerce companies are doing the very standard, big image block, 20% off, go buy now. And does it work? It works until you burn that person out and you need to bring new customers in. I would rather have this customer base love me and bring new customers in, and this gets bigger and bigger, as opposed to, you send an email, this guy drops off, so now I need to build a new customer. This guy drops off, now I need a new customer. I would rather, pile on and build an even bigger community over time.
I love it. Well, I mean, folks, this is the blueprint. The blueprint was just literally created in front of you, from the start all the way. And it's, this makes it less complicated, right? We talked about e-commerce being challenging. Hopefully this blueprint will let you, and again, as Greg has said, you cannot do it all right away, right? You have to focus on the important parts. Each stage of this process requires your focus to get to where you need to go. So just in closing here, I'd love to ask you, to just give some advice, to entrepreneurs. You're a mindset person. You talk a lot about that. Let's help put entrepreneurs in the right mindset as they start their journey. Those who are just maybe, it's just idea time and that's the only place they are. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so every morning, I'm old school. I use an app called Evernote. Everybody's got like sexier note-taking apps these days, like Notion or whatever that they use. But I still use Evernote, and I open it up every single morning. And the first thing I read is about the people I serve. And I think it's flipping your mindset to being product-centric to being market and community-centric and caring about the people on the other side. And by you not taking action today, I'm doing my community and market a disservice. Because if I don't sell a couple products today, I don't care. But if I didn't help a little kid get those sunglasses on and know when he puts them on, he's blocking out distractions, he's ready to go in the box, and he's going to have a hell of a good game today, I'm hurting my community by not doing the work. Right. And so, for Grommet, every day I do it for the makers. I do it for the hundreds and hundreds of makers who are just like, Greg, I've been on Shopify for 6 months and I can't make a goddamn sale to like save my life. And I'm like, I'm fighting for you. Because I know what it's like. I've got inventory. I've got boxes and boxes of inventory. I know what it's like to be that person who is struggling to get that early momentum. I'm fighting for you. And so if you're an e-commerce entrepreneur, you're at the beginning of the journey, think about the people in the community that you want to help. And I've been community centric. I've been talking about this the whole episode. That's why building a public is so important. Getting into these communities is so important. Care about the person that your product goes to, and you will do the work. It's putting your mission over your ego. It's putting your mission over, your laziness. It's putting the mission over whatever excuse you're telling yourself that you don't want to do it today. But that mission and the people you serve has to be at the forefront of what it is that you do. Because look, there's some days I don't want to get up. I don't want to do the thing, but I got people counting on me. And to me, that is so important, is the people that I serve are more important than my ego, than my laziness, than my, whatever excuse that I'm going to make for the day. Because I know that if someone, signs up for Grommet, I know if someone buys my sunglasses, I know if there's a little kid that I'm coaching today, like someone is counting on me to be the person that they needed to be the best version of myself so that they could get what they needed in their life. And I don't know, hopefully that makes sense, but I believe in it so much. And I think early stage, we care so much. We just care about our product and our product and our product. But if you care about the person on the other end of it, like I care about making this interview the best freaking interview it can be. So we did a pre-call. I got notes over here. Because I want to serve. Like I want someone to listen to this episode and be like, gosh, darn it, Greg killed it today. He helped me. That means more to me than like me wearing a baseball hat today. I'm so glad you wore one too, because I'm like, supposed to be like super professional and all this stuff. I'm wearing a yellow baseball hat.
This is a hat wearing podcast, but I love to serve. We serve a lot of the same people out there. That emerging e-commerce entrepreneur is in many ways not paid attention to in this day and age. It's more about the You're at 6 figures. Let me get you to 7 figures and 8 and plus, and let's go there. That's where, because e-commerce has matured along the way, and I understand that, and I'm not faulting that, but I think somebody who's, as you said, on Shopify for the last 6 months and hasn't had a sale, they need help. They need a strategy. They don't need a handout. They need a game plan. They need encouragement. They need advice, information, all those things. And what you brought today, the blueprint, that was the purpose of this, was to help that, some of you are maybe further along in the process. Some of you are at the beginning of the process. Wherever you are, slot yourself into the blueprint, study it. As Greg said, focus hard on what you need to do, and you can do a lot of it at low to no cost and not look to spend tons of money. At some point, yes, you will need to roll out some dollars to Zuckerberg and family and put some money out there, but right now you can do a lot of this without it. So I appreciate everything you've put in there, but I have one more question for you because this is a question around the topic of AI, because so many of our emerging e-commerce entrepreneurs are enthralled with it, maybe frightened by it. They don't know what's going on. And whether you use it or not, I'm sure you've dabbled in it at least a little bit. I'd love to know one thing that you've done on AI recently that made you stop and say, wow, I can't believe it did that.
Man, there's actually a lot. So we use it daily at the Grommet to, test headlines, email copy, all this. We usually have humans do the initial work and then have AI do the editing for us. That's a lot of what it is that we do. I'll say this. So my partner over at the Grommet, Eric Schechter, and I, we're getting ready to start our own podcast. And right now we're going to do a season. And the first season is all going to be about the biggest challenges and roadblocks that early stage e-commerce entrepreneurs have. So every episode is going to be a specific challenge, roadblock, whatever it is. And I just went into ChatGPT and I was like, hey, we're starting this. We're doing like literally what I just said. Give me the top 15 things that we should be talking about. And it spit out the best answers. I was like, holy crap. Like you nailed it. Rising customer acquisition costs, too much competition. I was like, perfect. Now for each one of these, outline an episode with, I want an intro, I want a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I want, and I was like, holy crap. And then I sent that over to Eric and I'm like, here's our first episode. Like it was just nice. It was, and then even going deeper from there in the intro, I was like, cool. Now write 5 questions that I could ask Eric about to start it. Now write 5 questions about this beginning piece. Now write 5. And I had the whole interview basically for me and Eric. I was like, oh my God. And 5 minutes of work. Yeah. And I was like, holy crap, we have the whole first season. This would have taken me like 3 days to do as a human.
Right.
Or longer. And I would have procrastinated and done all the things I just told you guys not to do. And so, yeah, I was just blown away that I'm blown away all the time with what it can do, but it's just finding these day-to-day practical things and knowing that it's not the replacement for everything, but can it enhance what it is that you're doing?
Sure.
Hey, here's an idea for a video that I have. Can you edit it to make it better? What should be the intro to this video? I've been using it a lot for my TikTok videos where I'm just like, here's the idea for the video. Can you spit out 10 opening hooks or opening lines for the video that would engage someone to make them want to watch the rest? And it just spits out. And is it perfect? No, but I wouldn't be able to come up with those ideas on my own. So
yeah. Well, I think, back to the media company, right? We need, you've got to create content in your media company, and it's a lot of work to create content. So using AI, and it's why I like to end on that last question, because it's such an important part now, is becoming a very important part of every business, and especially a business that is looking to create content ongoing every single day, because it is a challenge to do that. So Greg, thank you very much for coming on today. I love this idea of building a blueprint. It is so important. The community that's part of the group that's part of the e-commerce revolution, they need, it is a revolution, honestly. And I feel like, every time we think that e-commerce has, reached that pinnacle, no, we're going a whole new batch are coming in and building something and figuring out. So the blueprint is so important to this process. Maybe just take a minute and just tell the audience again. We're going to have links to all the everything that we discussed in the show notes, but let everybody know how they can find you and how they can reach out to the Grommet and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm real simple. I'm Greg Rollet everywhere: Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, probably 3 of the best places to find me right now. If you are at the stage where you have product, you have inventory, you're on Shopify, and you're hanging out in this community, you're part of this revolution, I want you on the Grommet, and we will help you get that early stage momentum. There is no cost, there's no upfront fees, no nothing. We don't even charge commission the first 7 days you're on the platform. We call it launch week. It's the most exciting week, in a startup founder. They just absolutely love it. Just head on over to thegrommet.com. Right at the top, there's a giant button that says submit your product. It takes like 2 seconds, integrate it's a Shopify app that you integrate, and then you build out a product page. But let me help you get that early stage traction. It's not a handout, because your product has to speak, your product has to be great. The community has to want your product, but it will help you to generate some momentum. And anyone who comes from this podcast, from your community, who's part of this revolution, I want to help them with every ounce of blood, sweat, and tears that we have over at the Grommet. So yeah, head to thegrommet.com and let's put you in front of a couple million shoppers and put your product to the test.
Great. That's awesome. Thank you again for coming on today.
Yeah, had a blast. Thanks for having me.
All right, that brings us to the end of another episode of the E-commerce Revolution podcast. Don't forget to check out past episodes, which are all available on demand on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast. Ready to join the revolution? Become an exclusive part of our growing community of emerging e-commerce entrepreneurs at ecomrevolution.co. Until next time, see ya.